and welcome back to DEI Diaries with your host, EP. As you all know, African American Studies is being removed out of schools and colleges as if it was even really being taught in the first place. But not on my watch.
Not on my watch.
So here at DEI Diaries, we decided to start a series dedicated to all things African American Studies, so that way everyone, both young and old, has a space to learn and understand that African American history is also American history.
The revolution will not be televised, and be no rerun, brothers and sisters. The revolution will be live.
So let's dive right in. We aren't going to be talking much about the surface level history, the history that they try to teach us in schools. I like to call it the big three, which is Martin Luther King Jr., Harriet Tubman, and Rosa Parks. Although they are absolutely an important part of our history, there are still so many African American stories and histories that have been left untold. One specific community being the history and stories of the Black deaf community. This can include people who are deaf, hard of hearing, or even hearing impaired. Now, Black deaf people have one of the most unique histories in the world. Historically, the Black deaf community often experience prejudice in more ways than just one. On one side, they experience prejudice because they are African American, and on the other side, they experience prejudice because of the communication barrier. Black deaf people even had their challenges within the Black community. Black organizations like the NAACP were more focused on fighting for the rights of the Black community as a whole, which meant the plight of the Black deaf community got lost in the sauce. There wasn't much of a focus or a deep consideration for the plight and accessibility issues surrounding the deaf community. During this time, Black deaf people weren't even allowed to join organizations that catered to them. The National Association of the Deaf prohibited Black membership up until 1965, which wasn't that long ago. All the way until the 1970s, many states, mostly in the South, maintained separate schools for Black and white deaf students. Black deaf students were not allowed on the campus of white deaf schools. They weren't even given the same resources or even had the same access to the same teachers. This separation contributed to the development of Black ASL, which is a form of American Sign Language, and it is so unique. Black ASL is a nonverbal form of communication that reflects the spoken characteristics of African American vernacular English. Hey, if you are learning and enjoying this episode so far, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give me a big thumbs up, and leave a comment too. Now back to the episode. Now after World War II, Black deaf people longed for a place to meet and continue to build community. So they began to form their own clubs and organizations. So more and more Black deaf organizations came about during the 1950s and 60s in many Black cities, such as Chicago, Atlanta, and Washington, D.C., just to name a few. The Black deaf community took matters into their own hands and started to advocate for themselves. And a big group of Black deaf leaders presented a list of concerns at different conventions, such as the National Association of the Deaf. These concerns included the lack of awareness of the issues of Black deaf Americans, as well as the lack of representation. This not only paved the way for African Americans, but this also paved the way to encourage involvement of other minorities as well. They also advocated for Black deaf children and fought for more programs and organizational spaces that would help them to reach their full potential. So y'all, stories and histories such as these are not just a thing of the past. In 2011, Black deaf students of the Kentucky School for the Deaf received their diplomas that were once denied to them. In 2011. Yeah. In order to create more equity, we have to keep stories like these at the forefront of our hearts and minds. Change starts at the heart level first, and then at the community level. When we think about the Black plight, let's also think about the Black people who may have different experiences too. Well guys, this concludes lesson 1 of our African American Studies series. And let me know what other Black stories and histories you would love to learn more about. All right, y'all. I love y'all, and until next time. Bye.
Subscribe, Nuke.